Hello and welcome to the NC podcast. My name is Natasha Collins and I am the host of this podcast and I'm the founder of NC Real Estate, which is my firm of surveyors, and it hosts my members club for landlords and property investors who want to come and build commercial and mixed use property portfolios that completely hit their financial goals. Let me tell you, the members club is open this week. You are going to want to come in. The reason being is that, number one, over the next 7 days, we are going to be working on what I'm talking to you about in this podcast, building your property investment business plan, and we will be there to help you do it personally. But then, once we've built that out, next month in the members club, so for the whole of March, we are focusing on property investor finance. So we're looking out and going and getting finance from private investors and the compliance around it. We've got an FCA coach in the members club who's going to go through all of that, everything you need to do to find and get investors investing in your projects. But first, before you know how much you're going to go out and get for investment, you need to build your business plan. So that's why we're opening this week. We have a week of business plan building. We're going to put together what you need, your property investment checklist. We're going to be going through exactly what you need to be buying. So properties that make sure that they hit your financial goals. And then we're going to be looking at how much money you need to raise. Once we have got the amount of money that you need to raise, we can then go and get the finance, which is really, really important. So if you want to join the members club, and you do because you want to come in for the live property investment finance compliance workshops, you really, really do, you want to head on over to ncrealestate.co.uk/members club to join now. Join now. You want to come in for next month and you want to get everything sorted before next month so that you can make the most out of it. So again, ncrealestate.co.uk/members club. So today we're going to be going through actually something that I discussed last night on a masterclass that I hosted, which was absolutely fabulous. It's all about your property investment business plan. Why do you need one? Well, first of all, you need one because it's going to tell you what you have to do on a monthly basis to hit your financial goals, right? That is the end goal. And secondly, lenders are requiring them right now. So we really have to be tuned in to getting together this information and presenting it correctly. So vital. You know, you want to know what you're doing, right? Because how many of you listening to this podcast wander around and think, oh my gosh, I have no idea what I'm going to do next. I have no idea how much money I've got coming in. I have no idea where the next deal's coming from, what I'm looking for, what's going to get me to my goals. Then you get into overwhelm. Then you don't make any decisions. Then it's a nightmare. Okay? So what we do is we bring things back and we break things down. And this is the first thing I get all my members to do. So you're getting a sneaky peek into that. Okay. So before you get started with your business plan, you're going to need to know the following. Number one, current property data for your current portfolio and the market value of each property, vital. And then number two, your goals, down to the penny and date when you would like to achieve them. So how much money do you want to have coming in on a monthly basis, and when do you want to achieve that by? Right? I don't care what the figure is. Only you will know what that figure is, but put something together that you want to achieve. That's step one. And if that requires you writing this down and having to go back and find it, go and do that. I cannot stress it enough how vitally important this is. Right, next up, we're going to be talking spreadsheets. You need to create a spreadsheet with multiple tabs. The first tab will be your business plan or cash flow, whatever you want to call it. I tend to call them cash flow strategies. The reason being is because we track how much income you're making on a monthly basis and how much expenditure you are shelling out on a monthly basis. And then we add that all up as a running total so that every month you can track how much money is going to be in your bank account. So that is tab number 1. Each of the tabs moving forward will be labelled for either a current property or your dream property, and we'll have a dealer analysis for that. I'm going to rewind a little bit, because if you remember, the first things that you needed to find was the current property data for your current portfolio and then your goals and what you're aiming for. What you do, and what I do within the Members Club for my members, is we look at what the difference is. And then we look at what properties you would need to buy to fill that difference. That then becomes your property investments shopping list, which is your dream portfolio, essentially. So if you want to go back through and do that and map out what types of property you need to have in order to hit your goals, go do it, because you're going to be putting those dream properties into your portfolio as well. So here are the steps that you go through to complete that property investment business plan. Step number 1, you need to identify how much income you're generating from your property investments right now. That is on a net monthly basis, right? I want to know what your net monthly profit is after all expenses, anything that goes into your maintenance pot or your contingency. What is that net figure? Step number 2, you then need to put together a deal analysis for each of the deals. So put together a deal analysis on each of those tabs for each of the deals. And then add the net income, this is step 3, add the net income you are making per month from each property into the business plan tab. So what you should have in the first column is property 1, property 2, property 3, property 4, and then it will have net income. Okay, so your net income will be whatever net income you're getting from the property. Number 4, add the amount of cash you will be able to take out at remortgage into your business plan tab at the month you will be making it. So row A of, or row 1 of your spreadsheet will be February 2021, March 2021, April 2021, May 2021, and so on, all of the months up until you hit your goals. And then every single month, you're documenting the income that's coming in from each of your properties. So that's in row property 1, property 2, property 3, property 4. Then you'll have a row for remortgages, and you'll be looking at when you connect through mortgage, how much cash can you take out, and you put that into your cash flow as well in the income section. So then what you do is build that business plan with all of those figures, just as they are at the moment, out until whatever date you want to hit your goals. Then you start putting in the properties that you want to buy, forecasting the properties that you need to buy and how much the purchase costs are going to be. So that's going to be expenditure, and you're going to have a separate column for separate rows for expenditure. So expenditure is going to be your purchase costs, any development costs, any repaying investor finance, all of that kind of thing. And you just put down as much expenditure as you've got. So add these properties into the business plan, this time adding in any purchasing costs and development costs in the expenditure rows. And then you can add in these dream properties or these forecasted properties and the net profit that you are anticipating to make. So now we've put in definitely, the properties you've already got in your portfolio, we've put those in, and we've forecasted when the remortgage is going to happen and when you're going to get that money in. Next up, we have put together your dream portfolio, and we've added those into the spreadsheet. And what we've looked at is the expenditure, so how much it's going to cost us to purchase and redevelop that, and then how much net income we are going to be making on a monthly basis. So we've got our income and we have got our expenditure. Now, for number 8, what we need to be doing is total up the expenditure for each month of your business. That's step 8. So each month of your business plan, total up all of your expenditure. And for each month of your business plan, as step number 9, you want to be totaling up all of your income. Number 10, at the bottom of all of so at the very bottom, the last row, so final row, you need to create a cash flow total row, which is the last month's cash flow total plus this month's income minus this month's expenditure and any pre-tax salary you take. And you want to do this for each of the months in the spreadsheet. That is really, really important. So for those of you who are watching the YouTube video, I'm going to put the image above. If you are on my newsletter list, you are going to get an image of that within the newsletter. So do make sure that you have a look at it, because you'll be able to see the spreadsheet and go, aha, this is what it's meant to look like. Then, using all of that, you've now got a cash flow that every month shows whether your bank account will be in profit or whether your bank account will be in loss. Where your bank account is in a loss, that shows you when you need to raise investment, right? Then we need to work out, using that, how much investment you need. Once you've got that together, you've worked out how much investor finance you need, you then need to identify how much interest you are going to pay your investor every 12 months. So we're now popping this in. So in the income, we're putting income, investor finance, however much that is. And then in an expenditure row, we are going to be putting in how much interest we're paying our investor on a yearly basis. Then what we can do is, as we look at that on a yearly basis, we'll be able to see, using our cash flow total, at what point we will be able to repay our investor, because that cash flow is going to be adding up throughout the length of the time that you plan on being in property investment. So then once you see that you'll have enough in your pot to repay your investor, that's when you repay the investor, plus any outstanding interest that you owe. So put that in. That way, this spreadsheet is then balancing, and you do that for as many times as you need to get investment. So now we know how much your current properties are going to be generating. We've forecasted the additional properties that you need and how much income that's going to be bringing in. We've looked at where you're going to be spending money to purchase these additional properties. We've added in any remortgages, so cash that's coming in from there. Or you can always sell property and put the profit as income there. You can add as much as you want. And now we can see where we fall into the negatives in our pot so that we can get investor finance and when we can pay that back. And we continue to forecast that out for as long as we need to. That's number 15. Keep building this for as long as you have your property portfolio, and make sure that your cash flow always stays in the positives with a minimum amount of however much you feel you're secure with. Guys, if you can do this, this gives you your roadmap to property investment success, right? Does not matter what anybody else tells you about these hot strategies. You know, maybe you're on Clubhouse day in, day out, listening to all of these people boasting about whatever's going on a daily basis. Well, who gives a damn if they've not got one of these? Because this right here tells you what you're going to do every month. Are you going to buy a property next month? Nah, I don't need to, doesn't say it in my cash flow. Or yes, I need to buy a property that is worth X amount and has this amount of rent coming in that I can increase in value by whatever amount, right? How much of a good position are you in If you know what you need to buy, you know when you need to get investor finance, you know how much interest you can pay your investor, and you know when you can pay your investor back. Because within this as well, we can then take it one step further. We can start forecasting growth in our properties. You know, we start off by looking at what the purchase price is and then, you know, how we can increase that to market value. But we can go a step further. We could have a look at the third iteration of that. You know, we do a refurbishment and now it's worth X, or we add this value to the property and now it's worth Y. We can map that out throughout the whole life cycle of this property. This spreadsheet is a working document that just keeps getting better and better and better because it shows your wealth growing. That is where you've mastered property investment. The next step is just to buy the assets that fit in. But there's no additional decisions that need to be made because you've already decided. And of course, it's a work in progress. But how would it feel if for 7 days you just sat down and worked on this business plan, and then you knew what you were going to do for the next 10 years to maximize your assets and grow your wealth? Right? Revolutionary. And this is where we start in the Members Club. This is what we work on. Now, I've just been through the steps for you, and hopefully you've been taking notes, and if you haven't, go back around and take notes again. But this is always the starting point. This has to be the starting point. Otherwise, how the hell do you know what you're going to do next? And once you start from here, you can then ask questions that actually really help you. Like, I've seen this property. Does it match with my goals? Yes or no? And we can go through the pros and cons of it and how you can make it match your goals. But if you've not got anything that you're trying to live up to, or any standards or anything to compare, you're just shooting in the dark. And how do you know when you hit the target? You don't. You really don't. So that is why we have to put together your property investment business plan, or as I like to call it, cash flow strategy. But, you know, we've got to have one of these. Imagine that. You present this to your lender and your lender's like, you're a competent investor. And you're like, hell yeah, I am. Of course you are. If you've got one of these. If you don't have one of these, what are you doing? You don't know. That is why putting this together is absolutely going to supercharge your property investment success. So I really, as a result of this, I really recommend that you get going on it so that you can build and you can create that property portfolio that hits your financial goals time after time. And hey, if you want to work with me on it, then you have to come and join the Members Club. That is the only place I'm going to go through it with you. Head on over to ncrealestate.co.uk/members club. It's open right now. Come and join me. I hope that you have got so much out of this today, and you know how you're going to plan your property investment journey going forward. Thank you so much for listening to me today. I cannot wait to catch up with you again soon.